funds and supplies, but you need a place to track your stuff, cause you're so disorganized. You click open the web page, you heard about a critical role, and now you're ready to kick some butt in a mine shot full of no's. It's D&D, D&D Beyond, yeah, D&D, D&D Beyond. You got your stats, you got your swords, and you got your invisible wall. It's D&D, D&D Beyond.
Hello, everyone. I'm Adam Bradford, General Manager for D&D Beyond, and welcome to this week's Development Update and Community Q&A session. Thank you for joining me. This should be a lot of fun. Today's lineup, we'll get into latest updates. If you didn't hear already, we did release the Encounter Builder Alpha. We also had some release for Ghosts of Saltmarsh and some new functionality coming to the character sheet as a result of that. I'm going to demo some of that today, make sure everybody knows how to use that out there. Upcoming other exciting announcements came through the weekend. I know many of you weren't able to join because of the time change, so we're going to reiterate a couple of those today. We are going to do some pop talk, so that is where you suggest any topic that you would like to suggest for me to talk about for 5 minutes or so, and we will vote on those using a poll here in just a little while. So if you have topic suggestions, start putting those in chat right now. Preface that with pop, pop, pop. So put that out there, and we'll see what wins and what I'm going to have to talk about today. I always appreciate people trying to give me terrible challenges. And then we'll get into Q&A. As always, ask questions in chat. Preface that with question, and the magic of technology. We'll pull that in for us a little bit later, and we'll answer some questions. All right, let's see. Latest updates. Ghosts of Saltmarsh released this week. If you haven't checked out this book yet, it is a doozy. I am a really big fan. Oh, hold on. Slack is bothering me. Slack is completely bothering me. Do not disturb. Quit with your little popping noise in my ear, Slack. All right, it's over with now. No more popping noises. All right, so Ghost of Saltmarsh released this week. We updated our character sheet with a vehicle section, and we're going to let you take a look at that in just a moment. We're still working on the mobile beta character sheet. All of that is in progress. I hope to have some more updates to start showing off on that pretty soon. And then we do have upcoming D&D releases. So Acquisitions Incorporated that you guys probably already knew about, but also through the weekend, the essential D&D Essentials kit was announced for Dungeons & Dragons, and the Adventure Dragon of Icespire Peak was announced finally, and we're working on getting that entered and ready in our systems as well. And then, of course, the Encounter Builder Alpha. So let's look at, let's see. We're going to get out of that for just a second. We're going to take a look at character sheet and take a look at the newly renamed extras section here. So this is going to be where, if you're not seeing that, I'm going to make a bigger circle there. The extras section, this is where you are now going to find creatures in addition to ships and potentially anything else that might come along there. So in the extras section, if you are playing in Ghosts of Saltmarsh and you want a ship there, you can manage your extras, choose a category here. So again, just like before, you can do all of the things that you need to do with your creatures. You can also choose vehicles now. And so I'm going to just go for the big dog here and add a galley. And so you see that I now have a galley that I can refer to on my character sheet. So all the statistics, You're also able to dive into the different components of the vehicle and adjust hit points if needed. So the helm has 50 hit points. So we're going to damage that. And now the hull has that many. And I'm going to go back to my galley here. And the hull is updated. So ultimately, you can dive into any one of these. So if I have a ballista and that ballista gets damaged as well, then you are able to apply that damage, come back out to your galley, and that damage would be applied to the ballista that I chose. So all of that is going on with our galley. You have all the info that hopefully you'll need for that galley right at your fingertips through the convenience of D&D Beyond. So it is right there for you to use. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this because Briv does not have a galley. If he did, that would be pretty epic, but he does not have a galley. But that is where you go in the extra section. You can now choose that there and use that. I don't know why Briv has an aboleth either on his person. So we're going to remove that because that's not legitimate. He has a griffin right now, but his griffin is hurt. So we're going to have to let the griffin heal up. But ultimately, that is where the changes for vehicles are coming in. Upcoming with that is going to be the ability for you to homebrew your own vehicle. So that is not currently available, but at the moment you can use any of the vehicles that have been demonstrated in Ghost of Saltmarsh. You also are going to be able to see vehicles in the game rules section. So if you go here, you're going to see details for all of the vehicles that are available there. So all of that information you can look up when you need to. So the upcoming Acquisitions Incorporated source is going to have some vehicles in it as well. And so we are going to have some updates at that point in time for those vehicles, as well as in the future, the ability for you to create your own vehicles. You can customize these vehicles that you get, that you can pull in a galley, for instance, and you can call it the Starwalk Stowaway or whatever you want to. So you can customize that at this point as well. So let us know if there are any questions on that, but that's our starting point with vehicles, and we're going to expand upon that system as we get deeper and deeper down the road. You can also imagine that in the newly announced Baldur's Gate Descent into Avernus book, with the focus on infernal war machines, there's probably going to be some additional vehicle content coming your way. So looking forward to all that. So looking at the encounter builder itself, if you haven't seen it, let's go see that for a second because I really like it. I'm going to go to one of my encounters, Adam's epic encounter. So the captive combatants, this was actually an encounter that was ran during a fever dream of a session for Roleplay Roulette as the final programming that we had for D&D Live. But this was one of the winning encounters. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to do it too much justice because we only had an hour. But this is one of the encounters that won during that. And as you can see, it is a very interesting encounter. A chorus of flumps, lawful good creatures captured and forced to fight for their lives in an arena. So ultimately, that is what is happening with this encounter. So the Encounter Builder Alpha, we are still very early here, but you can check this out if you're a subscriber of any sort. So hero or master tier subscription, you can go check out the encounter builder and give us feedback. So there are a variety of ways to do that. You can take our survey, which we would really appreciate. We'll take a look at some of the results coming in on that shortly. You can also use this feedback button at the bottom of the screen to draw things. Let's see. Wait a minute. Do I get to freehand like this? How do I freehand? Oh, yeah. So all of that's going on. For some reason, it's not letting me. There we go. Didn't like my circle I was drawing. So Wolverine scraped this page. All right, so that's it. So you can give all that feedback there as well. And we appreciate that. And then as always, we can go to our forums, into the Encounter Builder section and give feedback there, or in Discord. So all kinds of feedback is coming in, and we're already using it to improve the Encounter Builder. So some of the updates that we are trying to push this week, if they are not already pushed, I believe column sorting just went in just before the dev update. So column sorting is now available as well in the list view of the Encounter Builder. So actually, perhaps I should have gone there real quick. Let's see if that is working. We're going to do it live. Let's see if it's working. Oh, it looks like it's working. That's an Aarakocra. Abjurer, the type, aberrations. And then I click it again, descending. There's all the arcane turret stuff for the artificer. And then that removes the sort if you click it a third time. So all of that should be, ooh, a Chewinga is not very difficult. And then Tiamat and the Tarask. So all the column sorting is working. So that was one of the most requested things right off the bat with the feedback. And of course, we were already always going to do that, but the feedback being as overwhelming as it was, we prioritized that. We got that in place. Loading indicators, not found indicators. I saw one of those come in as I opened the page there. Some accessibility issues. So this is the first feature where we have been working with the Dots RPG group to try to really focus on accessibility from the ground up. We're trying to retrofit some of the other features to be better about this on the platform, but this is the first opportunity that we have to really try to build that in from the ground up. We already got some great feedback from the community, both from Dots and from a couple of forum posts out there. So we really appreciate the feedback, and we've already addressed several of those issues. We've got some additional browser support coming in, monster tags filter, and then we have refined search. So this is the note I got again just before we started the update here. It says, before with search, it was word matching with no partial word search plus fuzzy logic. It lets you misspell up to 2 characters plus filters. But then now we have the fuzzy logic plus partial word search, plus it begins with boosting. So if you type in G as the first letter, things that begin with G are higher on the results, plus sorting, plus filters. So already improving search as well in the list view of the Encounter Builder. So these are things that are happening in week 1. We're going to continue to add more and more value in the coming weeks as we get through the alpha and go through to public beta. So that is when we would have this available for people outside of subscribers. Cannot say enough how much we appreciate the feedback. It is very valuable to us. And this approach that we're taking with the Encounter Builder, release this early to our subscribers, get great feedback, and hopefully make what the community really needs the first time, is something that is working very well for us. So far, this experiment has been a success, and it's something that we're going to look to do more and more of. So let's talk about some of the data for the Encounter Builder. So far, and this, I think this number is as of yesterday, actually. I'm pretty sure it's higher already. But so far, we've had 21,000 encounters created, which is a very, very large number for us. We were not expecting that many this soon. So we're very happy to see that. The average encounters per creator right now is 4.5, and the average encounter difficulty across the board has been hard. So all of you out there are very challenging DMs. You don't want to give anyone anything that is too easy. So so ultimately this is what we're seeing with the data. And again, this is an incredible place to be with even Dungeons and Dragons as a whole, to see what people are building. I wanted to have some information about which the top monsters were that were being used in encounters, but we couldn't squeeze that in today. We'll do that in a future update because we'll be talking about the encounter builder quite a bit. But this is really, really interesting to see this data already coming in. All right. So this is incredible as well. So the top 20 encounter creators so far, we have, I am sorry on this username, I am sure I'm going to butcher this pretty badly, but Dayuat has already created 132 encounters. And these encounters are not just simply clicking things and clicking save. These are pretty well thought out encounters. Very, very impressive what we're already seeing with people adding these encounters. And so ultimately, 132 encounters already created by Dayuat. And Dayuat, congratulations. Somebody's going to be reaching out to you, but we're going to give you a legendary bundle for jumping in feet first on the encounter builder and helping us test this thing. It is very, very appreciated. And we noticed that you don't have a bundle. So that, I think, has already been awarded to you. And if you don't know about it yet, maybe you're seeing here, or somebody's going to be contacting you in a little while. So congratulations on that. But thanks to everyone who is creating these encounters. We're going to continue to take a look at some of these numbers as well, because this is important for us, that as we exit the alpha, we've gotten this question several times. And that question is simply, what happens when we exit alpha and this is available to everyone, even those who are not subscribing? So the intent at this point in time is to treat the encounter builder this in a very similar way to what we treat the character builder, in that you can have a certain number of encounters on free accounts without a subscription. We want that to be a very healthy number of these. And so we're going to be looking at this data to make sure that we're covering as wide of a base as we possibly can. And then subscribers, as always, would be able to create an unlimited number of encounters, just like you can with characters. So at the, during the alpha, any encounters that you're creating, you will get to hold on to those encounters because, as long as you continue to subscribe. If your subscription drops for any reason, then this would follow a similar path to what happens with characters. If you have more than 6, you're going to choose the 6 that you want to remain active at that point in time. If you subscribe, you can recover what you had after that. But yeah, lots of encounters being created here. So looking at some of the survey results that we have had, we've got a lot going on with this as well. Overwhelming number of responses on these survey results. Trust me, I've seen results go out, surveys go out, and I've seen people be happy with 500 responses on a survey like this. That is not remotely what's happening here. We're getting far more feedback than that, which is fantastic. I think the last I looked, we are at 4 out of 5 stars even on the rating, and that is really, really interesting to us, because again, this is super early and this is nowhere near its final form. And so, we obviously don't know if people are rating it that highly because they're keeping that in mind, or because it's already in a pretty solid state. But either way, the response is something that we like to see. But with this feedback, one of the questions that comes in our survey is, what role do you take on as you're using this encounter builder? And as expected, we see that Dungeon Master is the most prominent role that we're seeing, but we're actually seeing, and again, this is not exclusive, so these percentages are not going to add up to 100, obviously. These are not mutually exclusive, but we do see that Dungeon Masters are, the majority of the people who are using the encounter builder right now are DMs, and that is very helpful, again, for us to understand and for us to start to take a look at. I do love that we do have a spectator being represented here, even in something like, the encounter builder, and taking a look at this and just starting to understand what the community looks like, at least when it comes to a feature like this. So this is all very helpful for us as well. And to let you know, as the feedback has been coming in, we have been working very, very hard to try to parse out all the feedback and the information that's coming. And we have a new product manager, Patrick Bachman, that has started with us, that is working here. So you may see him on the forums interacting there as well, but he's compiling this feedback and ultimately categorizing that and trying to help us prioritize it. So as I said before, we've seen that sorting and a request for sort has been the most prominent feedback that we're seeing this early. So we went and we did something about that, and now you're able to sort. You can see that importing, so for party composition, instead of using the presets or manually adjusting that, the next highest category that's being requested is feedback saying that you want to be able to pull in your campaigns, where you can use the party composition of your existing campaigns. I'm not exactly sure if we're going to be able to prioritize that next, but we see that from a community standpoint, it is the next highest rated part of the features and functionality that we're going to add here. So prioritization doesn't always come down to what's being asked for the most, because if that was the case, our roadmap, even our public roadmap, would probably look differently. There are a variety of factors that impact prioritization, the technical lift and the amount of effort. All these factors come together to allow us to make these decisions. But sorting was one that was a relatively low amount of effort that was also highly requested. So we went and did that very, very quickly. And we're going to continue to take a look at all of those things. The good news is these categories, as they come in, everything on this list that we have seen to this point is something that was already planned for the alpha. So we're really, really happy about that. Now, this other category, there have been a couple of things that we've seen there. These are just so varied that they can't be categorized really. But there are a couple of things there that might have been outside some of our intent that we are looking at incorporating. Either way, this feedback is incredibly valuable, and we're going to be using this to make sure we are making the right thing for the community. Let's give away a legendary bundle. Does that sound like a good idea? I think it probably does. So we're going to give away a legendary bundle. All right. And then we've got to, I'm going to let you guys type for just a little while, but then I'm also going to get in a little bit of straw pollery real quick. So straw poll, pop, talk, topic. All right. So we have Kung Fu Utah. Best part of the stream this last weekend. That's a good one. And then we have Dagobah. Game of Thrones ending from a DM's perspective. Ooh, that might be spoilery. I'll have to keep that one vague. All right. My name is Yin. If you could have one cantrip in real life, what would it be? All right. Let's see. I think I've got everything that I need here. Create that poll. So we're going to say share that URL there. want to put it in chat if somebody already hasn't. So I place that in chat and go and vote on that, and let's see how that goes. So let's come back for our legendary bundle. While we're watching that, we're going to give away a legendary bundle in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Who do we have? Okay, Nightmare 957. Nightmare 957 with a K. Nightmare 957 with a K. You are the winner. Is it 957? Nightmare with some numbers appended. Hopefully there's only one in chat. Yeah, 957. Nightmare 957. Yo, what? I saw yo, what in chat. So, yo, what? You want a legendary bundle. So, someone will get in touch with you probably during the stream, if not very close after the stream, to award that legendary bundle. All right, so we've got a few votes coming in to the Pop Talk topic. So if you haven't voted yet, by all means, go do that. I'll put the URL out there one more time. So go and vote. Right now, it looks like the Cantrip in real life is in the lead. So we will see how that goes. All right, so let's talk about upcoming. Content management is definitely on the docket. We've got kind of a kickoff for that even next week with the team, where we're really digging back into it. We did a lot of concept work a few months ago, and we got acquired, and there were some interruptions. We're coming back to this, and we're really getting ingrained in it starting next week. AL validation, this general feature system, and we are starting to look at dice rolling at this point in time. So that will be a very, very fun thing to start happening too. We're not going to make dice rolling that's just simply going to be spitting out a number. If we wanted to do that, we would have already done it probably. We want a little bit more to dice rolling, because dice are such an important part of the Dungeons and Dragons experience that we want to make sure that we're doing something that gives it that kind of focus. All right. If you did not hear this news as well, again, we had many of our regular audience that was not able to make it for the weekend, but this is really exciting news for us. D&D Beyond has acquired the Avrai Discord bot, and that is how it is pronounced. It is Avrai. I am fairly certain that almost all of you pronounce it Avrai, but Avrai is how the creator of the bot pronounces it, Andrew Zhu. Andrew is going to be joining the D&D Beyond team during this transition. And so we are acquiring the bot. We're going to be over time working on the bot and making sure that we have entitlements working, and some APIs hooked up to this, to where if you own content on D&D Beyond, you will have it available for you in the bot. But we're really, really excited about this. There's more information to come on this front for sure, but this is very early stages, and we're going to be sorting this out in the coming weeks. But we'll share more as we have it, and this is a really exciting time for us. Very happy that we were able to make this happen. And again, we're just looking for ways for D&D Beyond to be, as can give you as much convenience and customization and captivation as we possibly can. That's really what we're looking for with the platform as a whole. And Avrai makes a lot of sense on that front. So that announcement is out in the wild now. We'll be sharing more as we have it. And if you also missed this, the Stranger Things adventure, Hunt for the Thessal Hydra, is going to be available on June 4th on D&D Beyond. So We're not opening pre-orders for this one because pre-order bonuses are not something that we can do. And so we've ultimately decided that if we're not providing any bonuses to do this, this is a little bit of a different product. Hasbro is technically the publisher behind this product. And we were able to work out a deal where we could put this on D&D Beyond and give you access to this content. But since there are no pre-order bonuses, we've elected not to open pre-orders just because, we don't want to. We've kind of established a precedent where you get some kind of value out of pre-ordering, and we wouldn't want people to be confused about that. But it will be available on June 4th, and we look forward to people coming in and grabbing this one. I think that the adventure is really, really charming, especially from the mind that it's coming from Mike Wheeler, the character that is creating this for his friends. So definitely encourage everyone to check that out as well. So Pop Talk, let's see what has won. Wow, if you could have one cantrip in real life, what would it be? That is so hard to decide. If I could have one cantrip in real life, I guess I'm going to have to go with Prestidigitation because it is just so versatile. It would be so easy to clean things with Prestidigitation. And one of my least favorite things in this world is cleaning things. And so Prestidigitation is going to allow you to clean things. Let's look at it real quick. So we're going to say with spells, let's make sure that I'm right here. Prestidigitation, Aquila and the B, I spell that. All right, so Prestidigitation, so you can create instantaneous, harmless sensory effects, such as a shower of sparks, a puff of wind, faint musical notes, or an odd odor. So obviously, that is incredibly helpful in a variety of situations. So if I need a puff of wind, last night I was in my garage vault hole, whatever my wife calls it, and I saw this fairly large insect of a variety that I was unclear what it was. And it was not something that I necessarily wanted around me. And so a puff of wind probably would have been a great deterrent for that bug to leave me alone. Faint musical notes. I like to sing. I do karaoke. I did some karaoke this last week during the D&D Beyond launch party for D&D Live. That was a lot of fun too. But if I could do faint musical notes as I was singing, I would no longer need my karaoke setup or a bar or whatever to go in to do the karaoke. So I would be walking karaoke at that point. An odd odor, I'm going to leave that up for everyone else's imagination to fill in the blanks for. But, whoopee cushions are still a thing after decades or centuries or however long those have been around. And I would just say that the odd odor would really, really help with pulling off those types of pranks. A shower of sparks, yeah, I fail to see how that's useful, actually. So we're just going to stop on that one. But instantaneously light or snuff out a candle, a torch, or a small campfire. No need for lighters. No need for flint and tinder. Instantaneously clean or soil, because sometimes you need to soil things as well. An object no larger than 1 cubic foot, but you can do this at will. And so basically every 6 seconds you can do 1 cubic foot. Very, very helpful. Chill, warm, or flavor up to 1 cubic foot of non-living material for 1 hour. So flavoring things, very important. It's always so embarrassing when you get at that meal at your, friend's house and they forgot the garlic or they forgot to use salt or any kind of other seasoning or spices. People say variety is the spice of life, and I pretty much say that variety of spices is the spice of life. And, I would never be in that situation again because I could flavor that food instantaneously. I can chill it, I can warm it. That seems like that's got to be healthier than microwaves and some of the other ways that we heat up food. Magic probably has no radiation or anything else involved. You make a color, a small mark, or a symbol appear on an object or a surface for 1 hour. Many of you don't know this, but my former life, I did a little bit of graffiti. I probably shouldn't be talking about that right now, but this is a great thing because it's temporary graffiti. The evidence literally disappears on itself. You create a non-magical trinket or an illusory image that can fit in your hand and that lasts until the end of your next turn. All kinds of mischievous things could be done with that. So I think prestidigitation is probably my choice. I'm very, very curious at this point, though, to see what I missed out on since I did that on the fly. So anything beat prestidigitation yet? Eldritch Blast, not so important. Encode Thoughts, now that one's pretty impressive. Friends always feels icky, so I could not do Friends. I don't think that would happen. Let's see, Guidance. Yeah, Guidance. I saw some folks talking about Guidance. I don't know. Guidance, it's like Guidance kind of assumes that you weren't good at it in the first place. So, you can still just work and be good without the Guidance. Gust, Infestation, Light, Mage Hand. Now, I have to admit, Mage Hand was almost the thing that came out of my mouth. Mending, very important. Minor Illusion's probably my favorite cantrip that I play in D&D, but Minor Illusion in real life just seems really, really deceitful, and I don't know if I could be that deceitful. So Message, being able to talk kind of telepathically, that's definitely important. Primal Savagery, I could play out my Wolverine fantasies from when I was a kid. Yeah. Shape Water, that's interesting. I still think that prestidigitation is winning. Vicious Mockery, I mean, we can just already do that in real life, can't we? Don't be mean to people. Be kind. Be kind. No vicious mockery. So yeah, I think prestidigitation is it. What do you guys like for the choice? If you haven't already let chat know, let them know and start all kinds of conversations about it. All right. Pop talk, and next we have Q&A time. So let's see what kind of questions we have today. There's never any telling. All right. So, why is it so hard to find ginger beer? Don't people want soda with a bite? So, what I can tell you about ginger beer is when I was at GaryCon in March, I went to a restaurant. I wish I could remember the name of it, but it was there outside of Lake Geneva. It's a German name. But anyway, I went to this restaurant and I ordered a ginger beer and I almost spit it out when I drank it. It was the most harsh, throat burning thing that I have ever had in my life. So I've had ginger beer before that I liked, but if it gets that spicy, maybe that's too much even for me. Kaldak, have you managed to get some sweet tea? Yeah, I'm back home now. I've got it flowing like milk and honey or like sweet tea. Sir Digby Chicken Caesar 13 chances of new artificer subclasses going live this week. The chances of that happening this week are pretty zero. I would say that the chances of it happening next week are reasonable. And I would say that within the next couple of weeks that they are almost certain. So that's the closest you'll ever get to hearing dates from me. We have some things that we've got to sort out with those subclasses. Jeremy keeps throwing curveballs at us, and we're trying to get used to some of it. So it will be pretty soon that the archivist and the, what's the other one? It's got to start with an A, right? All of them start with A's. No, it's the battlesmith. All right. Ladred, is there any news on the foreign language translations? Please say yes. Unfortunately, there is no news, so I hate to disappoint you today, other than it was talked about even more during the D&D Live portion when I saw Wizards of the Coast staff were trying to get the translations from them at this point in time, and we're going to dive in as soon as we can with that. Adventure Fight, we all know how you feel about Sweet Tea. Is everything going to be about Sweet Tea today? Am I that transparent? But are you a friend of Arnold Palmer? No. Why would you ruin perfectly good sweet tea or perfectly good lemonade by putting them together? So some things go together, chocolate, peanut butter, peanut butter jelly, peanut butter banana. Peanut butter goes with a lot of things, folks, but some things go together, but sweet tea does not go with anything else except for my mouth. Fred Mick Awesome, I'm sorry. For monsters, what is the main purpose of tags? I noticed sometimes the monster subtype is listed there, which can be redundant for the subtype filter. Is this intended? So that's interesting, actually. Let's go and take a look at whether that is intended or not. So are we talking about in the encounter builder? I doubt it. I doubt we have that, do we? Maybe we do. Oh, interesting. Yeah, those shouldn't be tags. And I know what's happened here, actually. So when we started, subtype was not something that we were tracking for monsters. And so we were actually capturing that through tags. And so what you're running into there is essentially a redundancy that was created by the subtype being properly captured at a later point in time. So we do need to clean up the tags with that. And we need to, kind of as a result of that, clean up the tags, and then we need to come back in and put some other information into those tags. And that's something that we're working on with Wizards of the Coast right now. And we're not quite finished with that, so I can't talk about it yet. But tags are going to be a little bit more useful in the future. And we need to clean up those subtypes since we are capturing that elsewhere. So yes, great question. And hopefully we've got somebody listening to that out there on the team. If not, I'm going to make a note of it right here. There we go. All right, here we go. AK318. So with the new UA Artificer released, how is the DDB conversion going? So I answered this a little bit earlier. So this is something that we are working on. And then how will things like the new repeating shot, will they become tick boxes on ranged weapons so the modifiers apply to the weapon? I doubt that that's going to happen immediately, but it is something that we would want to add over time, especially if and when the Artificer gets made into concrete in an actual hardcover book release. RC Hadrick, is the ability to modify enemy HP going to be made available in the encounter builder, such as to show damage taken during the encounter? That is absolutely happening. That's one of the most requested things. It's also one of the things that we have prioritized. In our mind, at least as it stands right now, feedback and community response could change this. But as it stands right now, we would see the alpha ending at a time when you are able to not only create an encounter, add all the information you would ever like to, an encounter, also run an encounter, including tracking hit points and statuses for the creatures in that encounter. Kellyanne, when will we see? Oh, sorry. Repeat. We will see them as soon as we're ready. Chairman POW, with the very welcome inclusion of codes in the upcoming Essentials box, are there plans, you can disclose obviously, if this will be an occasional occurrence? So I think ultimately trying to read between the lines of your very politely worded question, I do appreciate that. We're essentially asking, are we wanting to put digital codes into physical products? The answer to that is an astounding yes on our side, and we are always looking for opportunities to do it. Since the Essentials kit will be a shrink-wrapped product by design, that is something that is much, much easier to pull off and accommodate, but we're always looking for ways that we can do the best that we can for the community on that front. Kit Kat cosplay, are sidekicks going to be implemented? If so, will that be a class or some other way? That's a great question. So it has been, actually, I'm not sure what has been revealed about that. So I'm going to have to be a little bit careful and cautious here to make sure that I'm not spilling any beans. But what I will say is there are rules in the Essentials kit that talk about playing D&D one-on-one, essentially with a dungeon master and a single player. And ultimately, we will support that when that comes with the Essentials kit. And outside of that, we're going to have to see just what shape, form, or fashion any kind of system like that takes in the future to see how we further support that. Aaron Lore, given that the ships in the Ghost of Saltmarsh Appendix A let you put like living hull as the hull component, is that going to be upcoming? So ultimately asking, will you be able to modify or create additional components for vehicles? And the answer to that is yes, over time. Ultimately, by the time we get to a place where you can homebrew vehicles, we would also want a solution to allow you to modify or change or add new components. Crimson Baloo's Clues. Baloo's Clues. That's funny. Will you make it possible for Twitch channels, Total Party Chill, for example, to buy product keys to award your digital books to their viewers, increasing their viewers' numbers and the number of people who are using your service instead of physical books? Any stream, anyone who is streaming Dungeons and Dragons is welcome to reach out to us, and we will see if we can figure out ways to work together. We currently work with a pretty surprising number of streams in that regard. K-Mander, not actually a question, but a request. You broke the rules, K-Mander. Supposed to be questions. Could carts, and I mean, it is a question still. It's got a question mark at the end. I guess we'll let it slide. Could carts and other land vehicles be added in the extras object vehicle area? We will do that as soon as we have a little more clarity on how Wizards of the Coast is going to handle those situations going forward. This is just kind of the starting point for vehicles, but I could see all of those things being added in the future, yes. I play dead people. Now that you have mastered drag and drop with the encounter builder, you like that? Yeah. I can't take credit for that one. I'm not exactly sure who came up with that first on the team. Possibly Mr. Ryder, but yeah, somebody came up with drag and drop, and yeah, it's hard to say anything else at this point. But will that be rolled out to other sections like the character sheet, maybe even between characters in the same campaign? Oh, you know it. At some point, we will implement the patented, trademarked drag and drop into other areas of the service. Absolutely. Ularindil, will I be able to add characters from my campaign to the encounter builder? Yes, that's one of the most requested things. That's also I had a slide during the dev update, and I think we have this list on the forums at this point. But that is one of the things that we said is not in at this point in time, but it will be in during the alpha for sure. D&D Lecult 95. Any chance there will be discounts on books for subscribers who pay 6 or 12 months at a time, like an incentive for subscriptions, and maybe a small remedy for those who have missed out on the Legendary Bundle or other bundles? We are always looking for opportunities, again, to try to work within the parameters that we have for pricing with Wizards of the Coast, our licensee. And we're going to continue to try to just do the best that we can for the community. Justin T. Gann, Eberron hardcover and updating the Eberron material for D&D Beyond. Will the hardcover replace what we already have in DDB? I do not have an answer for that directly yet, and we will follow Wizards of the Coast lead with whatever they determine to do with that content. At the end of the day, it is their content, and they will decide what happens. What I can tell you, and that we have communicated clearly, is that D&D Beyond will always, from a database perspective, have the most up-to-date version of any element in the game. And that, in other words, if, and again, this is a very big if, so don't go run to Reddit and say that this is what's happening, because I genuinely do not know. But if a spell, or let's just take a feat, because I don't think there are any spells in Wayfinder's Guide to Eberron. If a feat in Wayfinder's Guide to Eberron is reproduced in the hardcover in any way, and there are changes to that feat, D&D Beyond would update with the latest, greatest version of that feat at all times going forward. It's the same as what we have done with the spells that were in Elemental Evil, but also were reprinted in Xanathar's Guide to Everything. It's the same thing with the, I believe it was Mordenkainene's Tome of Foes introduced some modified hit point totals for the Demon Lords. And so we are always going to have the most up-to-date version of any of the game content. FDM no more. FDR no more. Are there plans to incorporate initiative trackers and player characters? Yes, both of those things definitely happening. Let's see, lots of repeats there. I'm going to skip over a few of those. Irie, am I missing something, or is Homebrew unavailable in the Encounter Builder? Not missing anything yet. Homebrew will be incorporated over the course of the alpha. Let's see. I think that was this question about the fuzzy filtering on search, but we're already addressing that, as I shared a little earlier. Justin T. Gann, looks like the only vehicles available in extras right now are water. Will land and air be added soon? So, as it stands right now, there are no official representations of those two types of vehicles in the game. That is going to change over time. And obviously, they've been talked about in other sources. They just don't have vehicle stat blocks or any of that. So, as that continues, we will certainly support those. And as I said before, once we allow for homebrew vehicles, you would be able to do land, air, or water, or I don't even know. I'm sure we'll have to include some kind of miscellaneous also, because someone will, want to make a burrowing machine that they don't want it to say land. So we will get into that as soon as we're able to. Digger the Cornflake. Any chance to add adventure books that I already bought the hardcover to my account? No, that is not possible. Let's see. Kyle, I know it was just announced, but what's the expected roadmap for Avrai integration? I think you kind of answered your own question there. I don't know what I don't know. And so we're going to dig into that a little bit and see what that roadmap looks like. Part of the reason that we are very interested in Avrai is it already has a very, very comprehensive feature set. And so we're very happy about that. But we will certainly determine what that roadmap looks like once we have those discussions and once we finalize those. I can tell you that one of the major priorities out of the gate would be making sure, currently in Avrai, SRD content only is available. And so we will be working to allow you to integrate D&D Beyond content into Avrai that you've unlocked on D&D Beyond. So that is one of the priorities I know of, but I'm sure there will be other things that will be included on the roadmap. We've got 5 minutes. I play dead people. Will grouping encounters be possible? Yes, that will be something that we are looking at. I'm not exactly sure where that's going to fall, but it is something we're looking at. VM Thomas 72. What is your favorite MCU villain? Pretty tough decision. I think the only real options are likely Thanos and Loki and possibly Killmonger. So I would probably have to go for Loki in response to that. I do like Thanos quite a bit, though. Aaron Laura, I've begun using a BAT rating for encounter difficulties. How can I convince D&D Beyond to use it? I have no idea what a BAT rating is. Maybe I'm misinformed or ignorant in some way, but I do not know what a BAT rating is. So I apologize. I do not understand your question. So, well, we can hit me up on Discord and explain what a BAT rating is to me. Can this be possible if my DM has content sharing on his campaign, which I am a player, but I don't want to share my content because I am a DM? Where he is a player, could this be possible? I'm going to have to do that one more time. Wow. All right, hold on one more second. If my DM has content sharing on his campaign, and you're a player in that campaign, but I don't want to share my content because I'm the DM, maybe you're talking about content sharing, like content management here, I think is what you're trying to get at. And content management is something that's on the short-term roadmap. I apologize if I'm having trouble following that one. I might just be exhausted, might be part of it. Moses Dawson, duplicate? This is a good question. My name is Yin. Will all encounters made in the alpha be saved when the encounter builder goes beta? We have no intention whatsoever to remove encounters at any point, starting here with the alpha. So yeah, you should feel very secure in that. If we had to do something like that, that probably means something didn't quite go right on our side. I'm not saying it's impossible, but we have no intent to do that. Speaking Beast, how's the API coming along? It's going pretty well for what we need to use internally, but it is not ready or available for the public at this point. We will share more news on that front as soon as we have it. GK Smith LCW, does Avrai replace the DDB bot? Yes, it is becoming the DDB bot. So it will be called the DDB Avrai bot is what will be happening there. FDRM Frank, will Dungeons and Dragons versus Rick and Morty be a funhouse dungeon? I have no idea what that one's going to look like, but I can share that we are working and we have gotten confirmation. We've still got a few of the things to, the paperwork to come through. But D&D Beyond should get that Rick and Morty product when that is released later this year. So we're pretty excited about that one. Irie, one last question. What happens if you have a legendary bundle and win one, then we let you share that love with another person on this planet. And that's what we all should be doing, is sharing love with other people on the planet. So I encourage you, until I see you again, to do just that. Thank you for joining me today for the dev update. Thank you for all the questions as always. We will see you next week. Later, Gators.